Good day, everyone. Today we will talk about communication and globalization. For now, we are presenting our introduction before I discuss about our topic. Introduction. In this lesson, communication and globalization will help us to know how to communicate globally by the means of sending and receiving information merely implies of the different societies if matters of culture to learn about other culture and the behavior pattern and perception that we can apply to ourselves. In addition to the standards formed in academic and professional writing and culturally sensitive when we are communicating with people from different cultures and discourse communities. Our outline communica- globalization, world Englishes, culturally sensitive, and bias free language. Objectives understand the implication of globalization on communication. Explain the nation of world Englishers in the context of English being global language and use standard lesson in bias free language in writing. What is globalization? Globalization has affected us in numerous ways. Airfare has become cheaper, and one can travel internationally more than one could in the past. Some of the Filipino who work abroad for immigrating to other countries, the trade of goods and foreign investor to our shore. Because of all the factors, it is imperative to be aware of the difference between our culture and their culture. Reading and World Englishes. Speak English, the story of a once obscure language and how it became the last word in global communication, excerpted from the Chicago Tribune, from the story of English in the article of Macron et al. 1986. English did not exist when Julius Caesar landed in Britain nearly 2,000 years. English spoken by about as few people as currently speak. The emergence of English as global phenomenon has a first or second language has recently inspired the idea that we should talk not of English but of many Englishes, especially in the third world countries where English is no longer part of the colonial legacy. But all are equal in terms of varieties of English used in the world, however, not all equal in prestige. For example, in society, variety called African American English, where certain features such as singing, and walking are stigmatized according to Yule 2010. African American has treated as abnormal by those dominant groups who are in charge of defining normal. Scholars like Groundnut Tupas and Rabdi 2015 use the term unequal English to focus of the unequal ways and situation in which Englishes are arranged and configured and contested. The two most well-known varieties of English are American English and British English. Thus, English speakers from the US and UK encountering the unfamiliar accent and the word choices of conversation. Examples of the difference between American and British English. English has particular rule, has official language, medium of instruction, or even language of law and government. As mentioned earlier, all of these world Englishes are equal in functionally, but all but not all percentage. These features include differences in spelling, punctuation, favored words and expression, and sometimes grammatical construction. Philippine English has unique idiosyncratic usage, has assistance comfort room in the Philippine term washroom, toilet, or lavatory. Matthew Sutherland writes about Philippines English from an Englishman's perspective, talk about the expression for a while, which does not exist outside of the Philippines. UK's equivalent, he says, is just a second or just a moment, whereas in the typically expression would be hold on or hang on. Sutherland notes that every English-speaking nation has its own set of English phrases and idiomatic. English is equally idiosyncratic in, say, India, Jamaica, Zimbabwe, or Singapore. In the other word, there is no wrong way of speaking English as long as we understand each other. However, in terms of writing, the standard advocates the uses of consistent spelling and punctuation system, explaining such usage for the reader. In general, writers should be avoid local idioms, expressions, and constructions. Use words that will be clearly understood by English speakers from any region. World Englishes. David Crystal, 2003, begins the first chapter of the book English as a Global Language with the assertion that English is global language. After giving the various examples to support statement, he questioned the assertion by asking what does it mean to say that language is global. His answer this question, he considered the implication of English having status because many users who speak English mother tongues. Culturally sensitive in this free language. It is important of our existence of our world. English is not for practicing culturally sensitivity and to be aware the cultural differences and similarities between people exist and that should be assigned a positive and negative value via words. Students should be careful to using the other words and the phrases cannot discriminate against particular groups. The essential point is to communicate in a way that is disrespectful of diversity. Race and ethnicity. Racism is a form of discrimination against a person of a different race. In general, it is the best to avoid identifying people by race or ethnic group. Race is also emotionally charged topic. According to the Patricia Aneto, hazard English of the profession only if it is relevant to what you have. That word can reinforce stereotypes that imply all people of the particular race or ethnic group. Gender and sexual orientation. Sexism. Sexism. Sexism refers to the prejudice and discrimination based on the sex or gender. To be inclusive of people, general references, one should favor gender neutral words, should also be chosen over words and man and woman, and job titles and descriptions. Social class. Class, discrimination or classism, is a form of prejudice against the people because of their social class. This term is negative not because of the word is compromise it but because of the connotation of danger because it can be unprotectable and without respect from authority. There are the example from Philippine culture as well as the information terms konyo and jologs. There are both der- derogatory terms referring to class, now perhaps replaced by terms of jijimon, has used in reference to a disontocratic spelling or writing style. Classism may also appear even in more formal terminology. Socialist, activist, Bestillondar right. A more sensitive vocabulary uses terms that precisely portray the actual circumstances of people with a class structure. Age. Ageism is a form of discrimination against other people because of their age or assuming that other people are lessly physically, intellectually, or emotionally able than the other age groups. The capabilities of younger people should not be under, underestimated on their basis of their age. According to the American Psychological Association, writers should be specific when referring to males and females in terms of their age. Disabilities. Discrimination in this area often because of lack of understanding and awareness. Therefore, it is important to distinguish some terms that are mistakenly understood to be synonymous. The social implication of the disability and condition or barrier imposed by society and environment or oneself. When referring to people with people, and focus should be on the person in that condition. Our sentences. These general guiding principles are helpful but not always apt. It must be emphasized the research is necessary to become aware of trends and debates in these and other areas. One may also simply ask the concerned people what their preferred term are. And that's all. Thank you.